Come, all you moonshiners, if you want to hear.
Now, after showing you those results, it kind of begs the question here. You know, I had a viewer write in and said, I wonder what it would look like if you would just add more water to some of those other jars. I wish I'd have thought of that. That was an excellent comment. As a matter of fact, that kind of troubled me half the night. So here we are. And what I'm going to actually do now is, see, we know what our results are. So now let's skew the results and see if we can reinforce this hypothesis by trying to equalize in a way, if you may. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, because room is not so much available, I'm going to add 1 cup, about 250 milliliters of water to each of these, which will dilute them. So when I dilute the environment and offer more water in order for my yeast to be more healthy, will I get this type of results in this jar, and then this type of results in this jar, and maybe even some of this result in this jar? Well, let's find out. Well, there goes 1 cup of water into this jar, and then we'll give that some time and see what that does. Let's move on. I got jar 3 and 4 to go. Well, now I've added a cup of water into each one of these. And to only be fair, I didn't add anything to this one. This is our base jar. But to be fair, since adding water to these kind of mix them up, it's only fair that we mix this. We just give it a quick mix, and then we'll allow this one to sit and do the same thing. Let's give that some time and see what the results are. Well, we are 30 minutes into this experiment, and it's going rather well. So we've still got, you can still see the slurry of activity that's going on inside our base jar. And then when we move over to the second jar, we see that I do have an increase in activity, but I think I need to give it just a little bit more time. And of course, in our third jar, I think we have replicated the results from the second jar. Now, it looks like it's trying to start in the third jar, but I'm not going to go out on a limb on that one yet. And our fourth jar has not changed dramatically at all since the introduction of the additional water. So evidently, 1 cup of water in addition to what I had in here. What we have here then is the dilution rate. And the dilution rate now, instead of being 2 pounds per gallon, this actually works out to be about 1.5 pounds per gallon. And now my 3 pounds per gallon is dropped down, of course, from 3 pounds down to a little over 2 pounds per gallon. So, I mean, I guess we could get a little bit more specific, but what we do know is we do know that the addition of water right now at this point is having an effect. What effect it's going to have? Let's give that some more time. We are now at 50 minutes from the time that I introduced the additional 1 cup of water into each one of these. We still have the same robust activity in our base jar, which is 1 pound per gallon. In jar number 2, where we initially had the equivalent of 2 pounds per gallon, and we added another cup of water, which means that we've increased the water to yeast and sugar ratio. We've increased the water ratio portion of that. That's the only thing that we've changed. We've got an increase in activity. It's actually doing extremely well. So I'm kind of replicating the initial results in the results that were a little slower. And then I've done the same thing from jar 2 to jar 3 by adding that. I can see an increase, albeit very slight, but there is a difference from the original. And then unfortunately in jar number 4, I did get some activity at the very beginning. And I can see that by a little bit of a yeast foam at the very top. But that has since stopped. So I'm at the point again where still, even though I've added another cup of water here, I still have too much sugar in this jar in order to develop a viable colony. So I now have a stuck fermentation again. And I can see it in here that there's absolutely nothing going on. Although in jar 3, I've got some slight increase of activity. Jar number 2, I've got a really rapid increase. I'm excited with that one. And of course, jar number 1 remains the same. So, to that person who wrote in, that would be a good idea. You're right. That was a great idea. And I do appreciate it. You gave me something else to work towards in order to prove this hypothesis, as we have so diligently, I think, have done. Wow. Happy distilling.